F1 announces crazy technical updates for 2023. Are you ready for the next level of high-octane racing? F1 just raised the bar with its latest technical updates that are guaranteed to turn the 2023 season into the wildest and most unpredictable race yet. So what do these updates mean for the drivers and teams? Will they lead to even faster lap times, or will they cause chaos on the track? Find out now and get hooked on the latest F1 news. With the 2022 Formula 1 season in the books, attention has switched to 2023 and the interesting stories and rivalries that will emerge. Following one of the most significant changes in technical rules in F1 history last year, a feeling of stability will welcome next season. But that hasn't prevented plenty of changes elsewhere to allow the 2017 campaign to stand out. Following the COVID-enforced reforms in previous years, key driver market adjustments will take effect, while the race schedule will continue to grow. Red Bull Racing's Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez remain intact for the third consecutive season, while Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton and George Russell remain untouched, as do Ferrari's Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. However, although the top three teams' driver lineups remain constant, there are several changes elsewhere. Sebastian Vettel's retirement at the end of 2022, Fernando Alonso shocked the racing world by joining Lance Stroll at Aston Martin, leaving a vacancy at Alpine. Alpine chose Pierre Gasly from AlphaTauri to forge an all-French link with Esteban Ocon after the contract crisis that saw Oscar Piastri on his way to McLaren, to replace the displaced Daniel Ricciardo in the garage bay next to Lando Norris. AlphaTauri arranged for Formula E Championship and longtime Mercedes reserve Nick De Vries to make his full F1 debut in 2023 after standing in for Alex Albon at Williams in the 2022 Italian GP. De Vries joins Yuki Tsunoda, who has been retained. Albon has been retained by Williams, who has replaced Nicholas Latifi with rookie Logan Sargent. Haas replaced Mick Schumacher, who is now a Mercedes reserve driver, with Nico Hülkenberg, who will race alongside Kevin Magnussen. Alfa Romeo retains the same lineup for Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu, despite being the only team to make a significant change in 2022. With just one pre-season test scheduled for 2023, F1 teams already know when their new cars must be ready to race on the 23rd and 25th of February. For the 2022 Formula 1 season, the aerodynamic rules were revised, reintroducing a ground effect formula for the first time since 1982. This was done in an attempt to lessen the present dependence on wings for downforce, which has been criticized for the dirty air that has made close quarters racing problematic in recent years, and instead placed most of the onus on the floor and its new Venturi tunnels to create downforce. To achieve the intended impact in terms of racing, regulatory adjustments included the changeover to 18-inch tires for 2022. Bodywork around the wheels, and a full cull of bargeboard equipment. DRS was kept for the 2022 rule set to counteract the lower slipstream impact on the straights, a natural byproduct of the change in aerodynamics. Despite the modifications, the vehicles were barely a second slower overall than in 2021. Although the 2022 cars suffered more than their predecessors, their speed in higher speed bends helped to close some of the deficit. One of the most serious issues produced by the alterations was the onset of porpoising and bouncing, a phenomenon in which the automobile oscillated on the straights. For the drivers, this created discomfort and a loss of vision. Porpoising is a recurrent element of ground effect aerodynamics and is created by activating the car's heave frequency, while bouncing is a mechanical reaction to variations in the road surface induced by the stiffness of the suspension. To combat this, the FIA implemented measures for 2022 and 2023. Beginning with an aerodynamic oscillation metric, AOM, to guarantee that teams were not taking liberties with the car's aerodynamic setups at the price of safety. An FIA standard accelerometer that is already installed in each vehicle is used to assess if a car fulfills the FIA's AOM, with the base measure set at 10 joules per kilogram per 100 kilometers at its maximum limit. Each vehicle's mean AOM will be determined from an eligible lap, which includes in-laps, out-laps, and safety car laps. The FIA has the authority to dismiss the driver of a vehicle that exceeds that statistic. Although teams have 3 bailout options, there will be floor modifications in 2023 to guarantee that any uncontrolled oscillations are kept under check. F1 will host its largest ever calendar in 2023, with 23 races slated for the season, up from 22 events in 2022, which was originally supposed to be 23 races until the Russian GP was scrapped. Due to the continued COVID-19 limitations, the Chinese Grand Prix has been cancelled for 2023 and will not be replaced on the schedule. The Qatar GP, which was missing last year due to the FIFA World Cup, is back, as is the Las Vegas GP, which is brand new. While F1 has previously raced in Las Vegas at Caesars Palace in 1981-82, the new purpose-built Las Vegas complex will see the sport race around the city's most renowned sites. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix has been moved to early spring from June, while the Belgium Grand Prix has been moved to before the August summer break to prevent a triple header with the Dutch and Italian races after the summer break. There will also be 6 sprint races in 2023, up from 3 in the previous 2 seasons. However, which events will host the new race format is uncertain. The Bahrain International Circuit will host F1 2023 pre-season testing on the 23rd and 25th of February. This is the first opportunity to watch the new vehicles and drivers in action. The 3-day test is likely to follow the standard schedule of 8 hours of running per day, 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the afternoon, separated by a 1-hour break, with only 1 vehicle per team permitted to run at any one time. The test will include all 20 F1 drivers, as well as any test and reserve drivers. The ground effect floor standard for 2023 will be increased by 15mm to reduce the number of teams driving their vehicles as low as possible and risking safety problems created by vertical oscillations. This was initially planned as a 25mm raise, however team pushback has reduced the total change in floor edge height. This involves more strict flex testing to ensure that the teams are not leveraging floor elasticity to run the edges closer to the ground, as well as raising the diffuser throat height to lessen aerosensitivity beneath the vehicle. Following Zhu Guanyu's crash at the British Grand Prix in 2022, the roll hoop rules were altered to boost strength and limit the likelihood of the roll hoop digging into the ground. To combat this risk, the top of the roll hoop must be rounded, and the homologation tests will be modified to include a minimum loading point as well as a horizontal test to guarantee the roll hoop does not tear away. Each vehicle will also have wider mirrors to increase rear sight, which some teams have previously tested in practice sessions. These will be increased in size from 150mm by 50mm to 200mm by 60mm. There will also be 6 sprint races in 2023, up from 3 in the previous 2 seasons. However, which events will host the shorter race format is presently uncertain. The cost ceiling is likely to fall to roughly $135 million in 2023, down from the $142.4 million authorized in 2022, after the original $140 million figure was adjusted to account for inflation. Red Bull was found to have exceeded the $145 million cost ceiling beginning in 2021, with an excess of roughly $2 million, resulting in a $7 million fine and a 10% decrease in aerodynamic testing. F1 has implemented a sliding scale for wind tunnel and CFD testing time, which reduces the quantity of testing permitted based on a team's championship position in 2021. And that's a wrap on the latest F1 news. We hope you enjoyed learning about the groundbreaking technical updates for the 2023 season. Get ready for the ultimate test of speed, strategy, and technology as the world's top drivers and teams race for the checkered flag. Stay tuned for more exciting updates, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for all the latest F1 news and highlights. Until next time, drive fast and have fun.